When's it going to not only be the manager's fault?
No.
You keep telling me we've got these world-class players, but then it's the manager's fault. And it's all
Oh God, I've been saying this shit since 2010, but I'm gonna let him
all
talk.
these golden generations, and it's always the
I think-
manager's
so I
fault.
think-
Why is it always the manager's fault?
I think the point is...
Who's Spain's manager? I
Enrique.
don't know. I've got no idea, and neither do you.
Iglesias.
Precisely.
Who the hell is Spain's manager?
Because it's just the manager. No, it's not. That's
No,
it's
but-
embedded in their culture, the way they play.
So, let's talk about Spain's football culture. 2 Euros and a World Cup in a space of 4 years. They dazzled the world with their tiki-taka, their possession-based football. It was fantastic. Or at least it was for a while. Then in 2014, they went out getting battered 5-1 by the Netherlands. In 16, they lost half the matches they played, and from there on out, it only got worse. In 2018, they only
was
won
bad,
one match.
bro.
They went out to Russia despite holding 79% of possession and putting out 23 shots. 4 years later, nothing had changed. 77% possession against Morocco, 13 shots and not a single goal. Spain had been found out. The rest of the world had found the antidote. Sit back, soak in the pressure, and put blood, sweat and tears into every counterattack and set piece. It was, at times, humiliating. Ever since Del Bosque left, they went through Lopetegui, Hierro, Luis Enrique and Moreno, each of them promising a solution, a revolution, talking about modernizing the team, and yet, nothing changed. They had waited 44 years for the first of those 3 titles, and now there was a sense of worry in the air that they'd be forced to wait another 44 for the next one. And I'll give you one thing, when they appointed De La Fuente as the new manager, a lot of Spanish supporters had that same question. Who even is that guy? I mean, if you researched his name, it was all kind of scary and not in a good way. The guy
Scary,
was
not in a good
61,
way.
and though as a player, he had played a significant role in taking Bilbao to
Bilbao.
the last golden era.
Okay,
taking 2
okay.
titles in a row.
Tight
As
shit.
a manager, his only senior coaching job had been a terrible spell with Alaves in Spain's 4th tier 13 years ago, and even
So
then,
how the hell did he get this shit? Nigga 61, coached in the 4th division in Spain, did shit, and
he got to
still
second
got the
11 matches
JOB.
later. But well, there was
That's what
a
I'm
key
telling
word
you,
in that
man.
sentence.
Connections.
Senior. You see, less than 2 years after being dismissed by Alaves, De La Fuente was picked up by the Spanish Federation as their new under-19 manager, and he did wonders. By 2015, he had won the Euros with Rodri, Merino and Unai Simon in his team. In 2018, he jumped up to the under-21s and won it all again, this time with Oyarzabal, Merino, Olmo and Fabian Ruiz. And by 2021, he fell just one step short of the gold at the Olympics, with Pedri joining the team. Once he took over the senior squad and told the press that no one knows Spain's present and future better than me, that is a fact, he wasn't lying. This guy had helped raise these kids into football stars. Their respect for him went much deeper than it would for any other manager, and if with Luis Enrique the rift between culés and Madridistas seemed stronger than ever, De La Fuente was the one man who could bring everyone together. Regardless, things weren't easy. As the man himself admitted, once he took the job, his first thought was, well, this is one big bull to fight. Yes, only 2 games in, he ended up being beaten by Scotland, and
Madness.
newspapers were relentless. Nothing sells more units than digging a grave for a dead man walking. Ash labeled it a shipwreck. Marca mocked him, asking what was even his plan, but he didn't back down. If some of his previous changes to the formation had people scratching their heads, he doubled down. He went through 50 different players in just his first 10 matches because, well, if he himself was a no-name, then he had no reason to believe other lower-profile players wouldn't be able to get the job done. And only 6 months later, with one of the most underwhelming Spanish lineups in ages, De La Fuente had led them to their first Nations League trophy. And as much as everyone
With
wanted to
Fati.
say it was a meaningless trophy, in the
It is.
background,
It
it
is.
already changed everything. As Joselu would say, De La Fuente has built a family here. That's what will make all the difference. And I'll tell you something more. No matter how many people insist on bringing up his lack of resume, most international managers have impressively unremarkable careers. Roberto Martinez has 1 single top-tier title to his name. Tedesco only has 2, and the big man Southgate earns 6 times more money
0. Already know. Southgate has 0.
than De La Fuente has 1 trophy to his name, and it's a
He has 1. Oh yeah, of course.
Even a UEFA competition.
Of course.
In fact, aside from that, the only other manager to win an international title was Deschamps, meaning that De La Fuente has at least as many international titles as all the other 23 managers put together. So, in the end,
Why not?
he was the most qualified for the job. The reality is that even though on first look his squad had nowhere near the same star power as the likes of France, England or Portugal, with a list being made up of 8 players from Bilbao and Sociedad, while
And what's wrong with that though? Like, why are niggas hating? Like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. The Premier League is no longer the best league, bro. It's the Spanish league. I don't care. Debate me, bro.
only 7 came from Real Madrid and Barcelona. By the time the Euros were to be played,
Niggas are getting niggas from Bilbao and wherever the fuck. And they're winning, bro. They're winning the Euros against England with niggas from Bayern, this, that, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, all that.
They was on a run of 12 matches with only 1 defeat, meaning that once they were drawn into the group of death and forced to open the tournament,
Won all their games in the group of death.
International scene by storm, with one of the best midfield trios in the world, not to mention a handful of promising young talents. Even once Gvardiol opened the pre-game conference by admitting he had no idea who De La Fuente was, there was no reason to worry. Once the actual game got going, Croatia's defenders were simply too disorganized, and 25 minutes into what had been a boring match, Morata just flew in between them, slotting in their first goal and making himself
His first and only goal, by the way, y'all. His first and only goal. Bro didn't do anything else. Nothing at all for the whole tournament. The whole tournament.
third top scorer in the history of the Euros, only behind Ronaldo and Platini. While just 5 minutes later, Fabian Ruiz twisted and turned in between a sea of red and white checkered
This
lines,
guy's nice.
making it 2-0. As
Unbelievable.
the game progressed, it became more and more clear that this was indeed a new Spain, one willing to lose the midfield battle in order to sting back as hard as they could, and by the halftime break, no matter how many chances Croatia had been afforded, Spain were up 3-0 thanks to a trademark cross by
Lamine Lamar.
and by the time the second half came around, the whole game almost became a caricature of itself. While Spain seemingly scored at every chance they got, Croatia couldn't smack the ball into the net if their lives depended on it, with Petkovic at one point being handed the ball by Unai Simon, not managing to take a shot before Hodri got to him, winning a penalty, missing it, scoring on the rebound, and still being denied by the VAR over encroachment. Even if
Going back to that play, bro, this is not a pen, bro. I don't care what anybody says. This is not a pen. Bro did not
took a
get
shot
touched.
before Hodri got
Did
to him,
not get
winning a
touched.
penalty, missing it, scoring on the rebound, and still being denied by the VAR over encroachment. Even if, in the end, the result didn't accurately describe the match and it became undeniable that the football gods had been on Spain's side, there was no way to look past how deadly they had been, not to mention the fact that, precisely during a tournament that became notorious for slow, cagey football, after 136 games spanning over 16 years, always keeping the ball within their tight grip, Spain had finally finished the match with less possession than their opponents. There was no better way to close out the era of 1-0 wins with 80% possession. This was officially a revolution. Now they were ruthless. But if facing Croatia for the first match was already a test, then
Italy.
having to beat Italy to clinch the early qualification to the knockout stage was even worse. These were the holding champions, the team that had knocked them out of the previous tournament, the ones they had to beat the last time they took the title. It was a mammoth fixture, but instead, it almost turned into a bloodbath.
This city is about to experience a football.
What does he mean by that? Almost turned into a bloodbath.
Spain didn't just dominate, they finished the match with 20 shots and 6 big chances, while Italy could barely get one
Bow.
target. Hadn't it been for Donnarumma, who knows what the final result would have been. But thanks to him, Spain had to depend on Calafiori, one of the tournament's standout players, to score. an own
Excellent.
goal. As they say in
Oh,
Portugal, the
gosh.
stain always falls on the cleanest sheets. Regardless, 20 minutes before the end of the match, the Spanish fans were already confident enough that they started shouting "Olé!" And that should have been the first sign that they'd become champions. For the final group stage match, De La Fuente made 10 changes, not allowing a single player to start all 3 group stage matches. He was standing by his word that every player in the team had a purpose, and that actually changed everything. Because if Dani Olmo had so far been overlooked, barely getting to play, that day, even though UEFA would hand the award to Ferran Torres, Olmo not only assisted their only goal but put in a performance that got many insisting that he just
Dani
had to be in the
Olmo.
team. Still, for a while, it to be put on hold because now it was time for the knockout stage. When Spain drew Georgia, many felt the urge to say that they had gotten an easy draw, but the reality is that their side of the bracket was just horrendous. Portugal, France, Belgium, and Germany. It seemed the winner would be decided long before the final, but no matter what, they knew they had to hold their horses because underestimating a team that aside from Kvaradona had Mikau Tadze, the tournament's top scorer, as well as Mamardashvili, the most informed goalkeeper in Europe, wasn't a good idea. Even though in qualifying, Spain had humiliated them 10-2 on aggregate.
10?
And motivated by the fact this was their first ever presence in the Euros final stage, Georgia had made it through their group impressively, even beating Portugal 2-0. Meaning that when 18 minutes in, with Mamardashvili seeming unbeatable, Lenormand gifted them the opening goal. Spain looked to be in trouble again. For 3 minutes, the memories from Russia and Morocco rushed back into the minds of every Spaniard watching, but this time, Spain were different. Not only did the players not look too bothered, but before the halftime break, Kitaishvili went down injured, and only a few minutes later, with Hodder taking a hold of the game, he tried to limp towards him to stop his shot, but it was too late. Hodder got his goal. Kitaishvili was subbed
This
off.
guy Rodri, man.
6 minutes into the second half, right after Kvaratskhelia spiked every Spaniard's heart rate with a strike all the way from midfield, Yamal put in another trademark cross, and as much as Mamardashvili still got a hand on it, Fabian Ruiz put Spain in front. And with everyone focused on Yamal, in the 75th minute, Williams buried his shot into the net while the man of the moment, Dani Olmo, made the most of the few minutes he got.
Oh my god.
The goal to make it 4-1. Once again, the quiet favorites had steamrolled their opposition, but well, now it was time to face Germany.
Yeah.
What can
I ain't gonna lie,
say?
to me, this was the finals.
If you asked me before the tournament, I thought they'd be the ones to take the trophy. I still think they were the second best team. In an alternate universe, this could have easily been the final.
Yup.
It still was probably the best game in the tournament.
It was.
Really, Spain hadn't lost a competitive match to Germany since '88, and they weren't gonna let go of that record. First things first, 8 minutes in, Pedri went out injured, which would be really sad.
I ain't gonna lie, when I seen this happen, I thought they were cooked.
It not meant that suddenly Dani Olmo had gotten a make it or break it opportunity to prove his worth.
Oh, shit.
And, damn. After a tough first half, Yamal put Olmo through at the edge of the penalty area, and with only his second shot, he put
This
Spain in
nigga
front.
Dami
For the
Almolo.
remaining 39 minutes, the battle went on. Suddenly, it was Germany who took a hold of the game. Fulkrug hit the post. Havertz nearly
Yeah,
made
I know.
a
This
racing
was
goal
this
like
game
an
was
idiot.
mod.
Then, De La Fuente risked it all, bringing off all three of his strikers in exchange for Oyarzabal, Merino, and Torres. And in the last minute, Wirtz brought down the stake.
Yo, I didn't see this live, but when I was on my phone and I seen that Ward scored, bro,
9 minutes of extra time, you could almost hear the doubters blaming their eventual
I got
captain
bricked.
for his decisions, but in the meantime, he had made one more. Jose Lu, the most
Jose
infamous
Lu.
striker on the planet, had come in, and in his own words, 5 minutes before the end of the match, I went up to Olmo and asked him one thing: cut inside and ping the ball into the box. I'll pin back one of the defenders and then
Chillin'.
we'll have all the
Chillin'
space
and
in
show
the
these
world to
in.
crash in. And that's exactly what they did. Olmo was the man of the match, and Merino
Yeah, no,
put
Olmo
one
is
on the corner
fucking
flag, celebrating
class.
The biggest goal of his career, just as his father had 23 years before. in the
Class.
same stadium. But
Wow.
it wasn't all good. Before the match ended, Carvajal was shown a red card, Pedri was on a stretcher, Joselu himself had come in for an injured Fabian Ruiz, Lenormand was suspended on yellow cards, Olmo had picked up a knock. Hell, for a second, thanks to a mistake in the transmission, half of Spain thought Morata would miss a semi-final as well. And waiting for them there was France, the same team that had been to both of the previous two World Cup finals, the team that had just beat them at the last Nations League final. No matter how much France had been underperforming, getting to the semis without scoring a single open play goal, with so many Spanish players lacking fitness or just out of the match, the stakes were incredibly high. Spain would be forced to start the match with Jesus Navas at right back, literally the last man standing from their 2010 World Cup winning squad, the oldest to ever play a semi-final, and it'd be head-to-head against Kylian Mbappe. Not to mention that on the opposite side, 16-year-old Lamine Yamal was having to deal with Rabiot playing mental games, claiming that he would have to do much more if he was to ever overcome the pressure his teammates would put on him. Once the match began, Navas couldn't even last 10 minutes before allowing Mbappe to get his first proper goal contribution of the tournament, assisting none other than Kolo Muani, who after 5 months without scoring a goal for club and country, decided it was the perfect moment to put Spain in the worst possible scenario. But you know what they say, good teams play great games on a good day. Great teams play great matches when everything is against them. And Spain are the greatest.
Yup.
In the space of 17 minutes, first Yamal noticed no one was expecting him to take a shot, and then
on Rabiot too, bruh.
Got the ball from a lackluster clearance, and with 2 nasty
Bow.
touches, he got away and smacked the volley in. 5 contributions in 4 matches to get straight to the final when at first he was supposed to be on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I'm finna watch that game right after.
Out on a stretcher, they shouted in all
I need to see what happened.
Griezmann, Camavinga, and even all-time top scorer Olivier Giroud, but nothing was enough. And once the whistle was heard, Yamal, the man of the match, had one final note.
Niggas,
He ran up to the cameras and told Rabiot,
what now?
"Talk to me now."
Oh,
One match separating them from eternal glory, De La Fuente and his troops had to go precisely against the team that represented everything they were against. Southgate was a clueless manager who just happened to earn the biggest salary in Europe. Their $1 billion squad was a disjointed mass stacked with superstar names. Bellingham, La Liga's Player of the Year. Foden, the Premier League's Player of the Year. Harry Kane, the Bundesliga top.
what did they do? Nigga, I bet 10 bands that these niggas would lose. That's how confident I was.
Meanwhile, it was Spain who had become the first team in the tournament's history to win 6 matches consecutively, taking out 3 former world champions in the process, while England had gotten to the final with only 1 win in regulation time.
Oh, God.
Struggling
Yeah,
to beat
I
Switzerland,
go-
Serbia,
I
and
go-
Slovenia, and only defeating the Netherlands thanks to a penalty that even Jamie Carragher admitted should have never been awarded. And so, at 15 till 11 on the 14th of July 2024, 10 men and 1 kid ran towards the pitch in the same stadium where Jesse Owens had once ran. It was time to make history. England went in, sitting deep, playing on the counter, so nervous that players made passes to the opposition, some even out of bounds. 8 minutes in, they held only 17% of possession. By the 25-minute mark, Kane had only gotten 4 touches on the ball. By the
Insane.
halftime break,
Niggas
Southgate was
washed.
Thanking the Lord, the game was still stuck at a goalless draw. But just as it restarted, even with Rodri going out injured, Yamal quickly caught their low block off guard and put through Nico Williams, who came blasting down the left flank to put them in front. For the next 25 minutes, the situation
Yeah,
was
then
getting
England started to
more
heat
dire
up a
for
little bit.
England. But well, if there's one thing Cole Palmer has shown this season, is that he is kind of inevitable. So, only 3 minutes after coming in, with England yet to get a shot off from inside the box in the second half, he put in the coldest
Bow!
strike to tie the match. And the whole world set up for a second. Everyone was behind Spain. A win for them was a win for football. But
Yep.
as everyone began to worry, they didn't even know De La Fuente had already found a solution. Before Palmer had even come in, so had Oyarzabal. And with the clock counting down towards extra time, he and Cucurella played the most important 1-2 in the history of Spanish football, and right on the edge of offside, Oyarzabal finished England off. For a second, the stadium held their breath.
When I saw that goal, I'm like, wow, there's really class. Like, there's really, like, levels to this shit. Like, England, like, look, England, like, their way to the finals was shaky, while Spain was just cooking everybody. Germany, gone. Spain, gone. France, gone. Like, you know what I'm saying?
AR, and the goal was given. Then Dani Olmo again made the goal line clearance of the year, and suddenly with 15 goals,
I'm so happy
more than
these niggas
any other
won.
team in history, Spain were European champions. The first with 7 wins from 7 matches, their 4th title to go above Germany as the all-time leaders, leading in almost any meaningful metric. Even Gary Lineker admitted this is a hard defeat for England, but a victory for attacking football. Rodri, a defensive midfielder, took the Player of the Tournament award. Nico Williams took the Finals Man of the Match. Olmo, the ugly duckling, took the Golden Boot. Morata, after so much criticism, after threatening to leave the national team over the fans' lack of respect, got to lift the trophy as the captain. Yamal, now 17, topped the tournament for assists and took the Young Player of the Tournament award, while De La Fuente, the man nobody knew, proved everyone wrong.
Wrong, bro.